Welcome back to the channel, everybody. This is another recruiting graphic video. It's another sort of scary Halloween themed recruiting graphic. So we'll do a layer breakdown and then I'll kind of tell you along the way like what I wish I would have done better or done instead of, what we did here, because this is from a while ago and I feel like I've improved a decent bit since making it, but let's run through it. This is the original picture I started out with. Obviously we can't keep it this color. I mean, I say that. We could, but I want to make it, more yellow and App State themed. That's a picture I found online of a mummy. So I turned that upside down to be hanging from the ceiling. That's a shadow that I masked to it, and it's just like a black brush that I painted over it. Put it at 69% opacity. Nice. And then I have this chain that I found. I think it's like the same picture of a chain that I just cut in different pieces. Made it look like it's like wrapped around his feet. Using puppet warp and see, there you go with that. Puppet warp and just some masking. Same thing there. Then I put a shadow over that and put effects on the whole thing to make it look like the light source is the moon through the window. So the inner shadow is sort of the same color, or kind of a mixture between the light source and the color of the mummy. The drop shadow is like a glow of light that's kind of just like bouncing off of him. Another drop shadow is kind of to separate him from the background. That is another just color, or I guess hue overlay that I put on him. And then I changed this text. I masked the text to him and changed the text based on if the recruit was on defense or offense. So if it was a defensive recruit, obviously the mummy or what's inside the thingy would be on offense. And what in the world? Don't know what that is. Oh, another piece of the chain. Other piece of the chain. Oh, because the chain looked weird up there because of the lighting. So I put that on top. This is a shadow for the chair that's gonna come. More shadow. I think I just painted all that in to like, oh, actually that second one is probably for the mummy. Because there's light coming from the window and there's light also like coming from, I guess, a window over here somewhere. But, didn't really worry too much about it. The main light source is this window, but whatever. So we have this chair found online. Change the color to yellow, obviously. That is just a black brush that was for the shadow for the player that's going to be sitting on it. More shadow. More shadow. Interesting. That is a glowing eye to put in the chair to make the chair look like it's, alive in a scary way. And then this is a picture that I took a long time ago. That's pretty bad because the lighting was terrible, but so it's basically just all black. There's like no detail in the uniform at all. Then just a text of their number over top with strokes on it to make it easily changeable, so I can just make it the recruit's number. Put some shading over it to actually make it look somewhat realistic. And the good thing about all of this, like using groups and masks and like strokes and things like that, is it's easily editable. So like I did all that stuff to it and I can change that to any number. And it doesn't have to be perfect, but it can only be so good, when you're able to edit it. So then another curves layer over top. I think he was just a little bit too dark and like contrasty compared to the rest of the room, so I put that over top. Then I darkened up the whole seat because obviously the light source coming from the back, so the front of the seat and the player are not being hit much by the light. So that's a rim light from the light source in the back, inner shadow, drop shadow, which are both glows actually. You just change the color. And then more shadows under the feet and around the feet of the chair, all just black brushes. That shadow is for the hammer. Yeah, there we go. Found that online. Pretty cool looking. hammer, made it darker to match the room. Changed the color. Put some more shading on it, and even more shading on it. Because, like I said, like the light's hitting from behind, so the thing's gonna be pretty dark. Then put some rim light on that, using the same thing, same effects. More shadow underneath. That's where I put the player's name. Soul Snatcher is just like a cool thing to put under it. So it's like he snatched the soul of this poor offensive person. Or I guess if he was on defense, it would have been a defensive person. And our color overlay, which just makes it pop, really makes the yellows pop in the light, kind of. And then added some vignette to the edges and one last color overlay. I could have left that off. I mean, it looks more on brand with us without. Honestly, looking back at it now, like, maybe I should have. Because it still looks pretty good without. But I think when I put this on there, you know, you can still see the yellow. Still pops and stands out. But the whole graphic is not quite as yellow. It's kind of a little more like green-blue, which isn't great, but it's whatever. Still improving. So yeah, that's basically it. Yeah, I think if I could go back and redo it, I would change the coloring maybe a little bit. Obviously find a better picture of a player with like a little more detail maybe. I mean, it's not terrible, but it's not too bad. I would have added some shading to this chain right here because behind this, so it just gives it a little more depth. Yeah, I mean, it's not too bad, but it doesn't look very clean, I guess. Which really, you know, if you have high quality images, that always helps. Like and subscribe if you want to see more stuff like this. Feel free to comment and ask questions or reach out to me on social media, and I'd love to help you out. Thanks for watching. Have a good one.